You're listening to the Cyberwire Network, powered by N2K.
Cyber threats are more sophisticated than ever. Passwords, they're outdated and can be cracked in a minute. Cybercriminals are intercepting SMS codes and bypassing authentication apps. While businesses invest in network security, they often overlook the front door, the login. Yubico believes the future is passwordless. YubiKeys offer unparalleled protection against phishing for individuals, SMBs, and enterprises. They deliver a fast, frictionless experience that users love. Yubico is offering N2K followers a limited buy one, get one offer. Visit yubico.com/N2K to unlock this deal. That's YUBICO. Say no to modern cyber threats. Upgrade your security today. An Apache Tomcat vulnerability is under active exploitation. CISA rehires workers ousted by DOGE. Lawmakers look to protect rural water systems from cyber threats. Western Alliance Bank notifies 22,000 individuals of a data breach. A new cyberattack method called BitM allows hackers to bypass multi-factor authentication. A Chinese cyberespionage group targets Central European diplomats. A new cyber attack uses ChatGPT infrastructure to target the financial sector and U.S. government agencies. Australia sues a major securities firm over inadequate protection of customer data. Our Threat Vector segment examines how unifying security capabilities strengthen cyber resilience. And cybercriminals say, "Get me Edward Snowden on the line." It's Tuesday, March 18th, 2025. I'm Dave Bittner, and this is your Cyberwire Intel Briefing. Thanks for joining us once again here. It is great to have you with us. A critical remote code execution vulnerability in Apache Tomcat is being actively exploited. The flaw, disclosed on March 10th, allows attackers to gain control of servers via a simple put request. Exploits appeared on GitHub just 30 hours after disclosure. Attackers upload base64 encoded payloads via a put request, then trigger execution with a GET request using a JSession ID cookie. Security tools struggle to detect this due to encoded payloads and multi-step execution. Apache urges immediate updates. Meanwhile, organizations should disable partial put support and restrict sensitive file storage. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency is rehiring roughly 130 probationary employees ousted under President Donald Trump's workforce purge, but is immediately placing them on administrative leave. The move follows a ruling by U.S. District Judge James Bridar, which the White House vowed to fight. Trump criticized the decision, calling it dangerous, while experts warn the mass firings threaten national security. CISA faces internal confusion over the ruling and is trying to contact impacted employees. The agency has also defunded cybersecurity hubs and defended workforce cuts as eliminating duplication. Critics, including former NSA official Rob Joyce, say these actions weaken U.S. cybersecurity. The White House and key agencies have not responded to requests for comment. Elsewhere in Washington, lawmakers have reintroduced the Cybersecurity for Rural Water Systems Act of 2025, a bipartisan bill aimed at protecting rural water systems from cyber threats. Sponsored by Representatives Don Davis, Democrat from North Carolina, and Zachary Nunn, a Republican from Iowa, and Senators Catherine Cortez Masto, Democrat from Nevada, and Mike Rounds, a Republican from South Dakota, the bill expands the Circuit Rider program to include cybersecurity assistance for small water utilities serving populations under 10,000. The bill funds cybersecurity specialists, known as circuit riders, who will train rural utilities, assist in cyber defense planning, and improve threat response. Only 20% of U.S. water systems currently have cyber protections, making this legislation critical. Though initially introduced in 2023, it failed to pass, but is now gaining renewed support this year. Western Alliance Bank is notifying 22,000 individuals of a data breach involving a third-party file transfer tool exploited in October 2024. The breach exposed names, social security numbers, birth dates, and financial details. The CLOP extortion group exploited Clio file transfer vulnerabilities, impacting dozens of organizations. Western Alliance confirmed the breach after stolen data appeared online in January of this year. Despite the incident, the bank says it won't affect its financial condition. Affected individuals receive 1 year of identity protection. A new cyber attack method called Browser in the Middle, or BitM, allows hackers to bypass multi-factor authentication and steal user sessions in seconds. This technique hijacks authenticated browser sessions, making it a major threat to organizations relying on traditional security measures. BitM attacks proxy victims through an attacker-controlled browser mimicking legitimate sites. Users unknowingly enter credentials and complete MFA challenges, allowing attackers to steal session tokens. Tools like Evil Jinx 2 and Delusion enable real-time session hijacking and scalable phishing campaigns. Experts say hardware-based authentication, things like FIDO2 security keys, are one of the best defenses because they tie authentication to a physical device. No device, no access. Behavioral monitoring and client certificates help too, and of course, good old-fashioned security awareness training can go a long way. A Chinese cyberespionage group, MirrorFace, also known as Earth Kasha, has expanded beyond East Asia, targeting a Central European diplomatic institute in August of last year. Researchers from ESET found the group used Anel, or uppercut, a backdoor previously linked to APT-10, suggesting tool sharing among Chinese threat actors. The attack began with a spear phishing campaign referencing Expo 2025 in Japan. Once victims engaged, they received a malicious Word document deploying Anel and Hidden Face for persistence. The hackers wiped logs, used async-rat in Windows Sandbox, and abused Visual Studio Code's remote tunnels to evade detection. They also exfiltrated Chrome credentials, potentially compromising diplomatic communications. The attack highlights China's evolving cyber tactics and collaboration between state-sponsored groups. According to the latest research from Verity, a new cyber attack campaign is actively exploiting a server-side request forgery vulnerability affecting OpenAI's ChatGPT infrastructure, but OpenAI itself has not been breached. In just 1 week, over 10,000 attack attempts were recorded from a single malicious IP, with the U.S. seeing the highest concentration, followed by Germany and Thailand. 35% of organizations are vulnerable due to misconfigured security tools like IPS, web application firewalls, and firewalls. The financial sector and U.S. government agencies are prime targets as attackers exploit AI-driven services to access internal resources and sensitive data. Verity urges security teams to review firewall settings, monitor attack logs, and reassess AI-related security risks, emphasizing that even medium-severity vulnerabilities can become major attack vectors. Australia's financial regulator is suing FIIG Securities over cybersecurity failures that led to a 2023 data breach affecting 18,000 customers. The Australian Securities and Investments Commission says FIIG lacked basic security controls for 4 years, failing to update firewalls, patch software, or train employees, allowing threat actors to steal 385 gigabytes of sensitive data. FIIG, which manages $2.88 billion in funds, was unaware of the breach until Australia's Cybersecurity Centre alerted them. It took 6 days to respond. The Australian regulators allege FIIG violated the Corporations Act, which mandates financial firms maintain adequate risk management. This case follows a 2022 lawsuit against RI Advice for similar cybersecurity lapses. Australian regulators warn that cyber risk management is a top priority, with tighter regulatory actions coming for financial firms failing to protect customer data. Coming up after the break, our Threat Vector segment examines how unifying security capabilities strengthens cyber resilience, and cybercriminals say, "Get me Edward Snowden on the line." Stay with us. We've all been there. You realize your business needs to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Well, it's easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post noticed. Indeed's sponsored jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. Your post jumps to the top of search results so the right candidates see it first. And it works. Sponsored jobs on Indeed get 45% more applications than non-sponsored ones. One of the things I love about Indeed is how fast it makes hiring. And yes, we do actually use Indeed for hiring here at N2K Cyberwire. Many of my colleagues here came to us through Indeed. Plus, with sponsored jobs, there are no subscriptions, no long-term contracts. You only pay for results. How fast is Indeed? Oh, in the minute or so that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners to this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Cyberwire. Just go to Indeed.com/Cyberwire right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/Cyberwire. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. Looking for a career where innovation meets impact? Vanguard's technology team is shaping the future of financial services by solving complex challenges with cutting-edge solutions. Whether you're passionate about AI, cybersecurity, or cloud computing, Vanguard offers a dynamic and collaborative environment where your ideas drive change. With career growth opportunities and a focus on work-life balance, you'll have the flexibility to thrive both professionally and personally. Explore open cybersecurity and technology roles today at vanguardjobs.com. It's time for our Threat Vector segment. David Moulton sits down with Forrester's senior analyst Carlos Rivera to explore the concept of platformization, how unifying security capabilities strengthen cyber resilience.
Hi, I'm David Moulton, host of Threat Vector, the podcast where we discuss pressing cybersecurity threats and resilience and uncover insights into the latest industry trends. Here's a preview of what's coming up next on Threat Vector. In our next episode, I'm joined by Carlos Rivera, senior analyst at Forrester, to talk about one of the most critical shifts in security strategy, platformization. Think network security is outdated in the cloud era? Think again. Carlos challenges a common misconception that cloud adoption makes traditional network security obsolete. In this episode, we break down why firewalls, segmentation, and policy enforcement are still essential, even in a cloud-first world. Don't miss this episode. Carlos, it's been quite a while since I've thought about microsegmentation. I mean, we're talking probably 5-6 years ago since I talked to somebody like yourself that's an expert. I'm wondering what you would advise. How should organizations rethink microsegmentation within the zero trust model to maximize that security effectiveness that they're looking for?
Yeah, so I think the trick here is that what I'm trying not to do is tell everyone that there's one solution that is better than the other. What I typically try to articulate when I get questions such as, what's the best practice for microsegmentation? In the past, organizations have typically struggled to implement microsegmentation effectively. So there are various levels of microsegmentation that an enterprise can arguably achieve. And with our own research at Forrester, we call out those levels, but specifically host level or even microservice level, we view that as it being more complex and difficult to implement. But organizations that actually pursued the microsegmentation initiative as the first initiative for their zero trust journey, they found it to be more complex, right? So those same organizations either abandoned the initiative or delayed the initiative to focus on other tasks and other activities. But now organizations are beginning to revisit that conversation around microsegmentation initiatives because they now have a better understanding, right? Yep. They learn from their mistakes. But now they have to have an understanding about the approach. So ultimately what organizations should really be doing when they begin that zero trust or microsegmentation journey is identify where those critical assets are in their environment and then actually assess what are the tools and technology, the controls they have already in place that they can actually leverage to achieve a level of maturity that will be one acceptable based on risk tolerance and even risk appetite. So once they have that, then it becomes more of a matter of what is needed to get to that next level of maturity. And another thing I want to add is that while there will be a need to have guidance for organizations. One of the biggest issues that I get in terms of client engagement is that now we're implementing microsegmentation, but we have firewalls, we have VPN, we have microsegmentation specific tools and solutions in our environment. These are all various different enforcement points that have policies. So organizations might not be thinking it now, but it might be worth exploring or having conversations internally about what should our guidance be about how we approach our policy rule sets throughout our architecture so that we have a better understanding of what's the most effective and efficient way of approaching the rule sets across our architecture. Meaning the broader we are, the further out in our environment from the edge perimeter, that's going to be the broader policies. And the closer we are getting to critical assets in our environment, that's where the more granular policies should exist. But it should not be conflicting with each other.
So, Carlos, anyone that's been paying attention for the last year or so knows that Palo Alto Networks has been a really strong proponent of this idea of security platformization or, unifying security capabilities into like a single AI-driven platform. What are the key advantages of a unified security approach, and how does it compare to the traditional best-in-class security model?
I think the idea behind the unification of security controls is really just to simplify deployment and management of those security controls. So you're actually starting to break down those silos that might have impeded any kind of collaborative discussions within your organizations with respect to, security best practices. What types of controls are going to be needed, and how do you improve those outcomes or improve those operations? There's also that potential for cost savings that when you start exploring platformization or a unified solution, you start reducing the number of licenses you need to procure, maintain, and manage. But you're also reducing complexity within your infrastructure, within the security stack. So it offers that ability to have a visibility and management of all these various different tools with a more centralized manner. And that can actually lead to being more efficient and having a more holistic security architecture. Security analysts can also aim to benefit from this in an indirect way because it's improving incident response times because it's reducing that complexity and friction that they might experience when it comes to investigations and analytics.
Carlos, are there any recent security developments that have really personally surprised you?
Recent security developments that have surprised me. I mean, we're seeing it kind of unfold now in terms of executive orders, governments buying in and making more, or at least being more influential in how organizations and how the industry should approach cybersecurity and making our areas, our networks more defensible. that is, to me, it's not so much surprising as it is, I would say, it's a moment of pride, I guess, because I do come from the government side and I know what the DOD has done in the past. And, they're always kind of ahead of the game, ahead of the curve when it comes to those types of implementations. But now it's kind of the influence. I think we're returning to the norm of, we look to the government to set precedents on what we should do for cybersecurity. And seeing that unfold today, or at least in this day and age, it's a bit of rewarding.
If we piqued your interest, don't miss the full episodes every Threat Vector Thursday. Subscribe now to stay ahead.
You can find a link to the full examination of platformization by David and Carlos in our show notes. And of course, don't forget to check out the entire Threat Vector podcast wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Tired of investigation tools that only do one thing at a time? Spending more time juggling contracts with data vendors than actually investigating? Maltego changes that for good. Get one investigation platform, one bill to pay, and all the data you need in one place. It comes with curated data and a full suite of tools to handle any digital investigation. Connect the dots so fast, cybercriminals won't even have time to Google what Maltego is. See the platform in action at maltego.com. And finally, let's set the scene. You're a cyber criminal trying to make an honest, dishonest living in the ransomware world, but payments are down, negotiations are tougher, and victims just aren't coughing up the cash like they used to. What do? Well, if you're ox thief, you get creative. And by creative, I mean you threaten to call Edward Snowden. That's right. This newly discovered extortion crew isn't just demanding ransom, they're fast-tracking the consequences. Don't pay? They'll rat you out to a cybersecurity journalist like Brian Krebs, privacy advocates, and even the Electronic Frontier Foundation. They'll outline legal penalties, predict massive fines, and warn of a PR disaster. The message? You're in trouble whether you pay or not. Analysts at Fortress say this is a noteworthy escalation in ransomware tactics. Instead of just encrypting files and waiting for a payday, Oxthief is weaponizing legal liability and media scrutiny. It's all part of a bigger trend. Ransomware payments are dropping, and attackers are getting desperate. Case in point, Oxthief claims to have hacked broker educational sales and training, but here's where it gets messy. Another cybercrime gang, Medusa, also claims to have breached the same organization. Did Oxthief really do it, or are they recycling someone else's heist? Either way, the alleged victims haven't commented, and the cybercriminal underworld just keeps getting weirder. So what's the takeaway? Well, if you get hacked, maybe set up an outbound call blocker for Snowden, just in case. And that's the Cyberwire. For links to all of today's stories, check out our daily briefing at thecyberwire.com. We'd love to know what you think of this podcast. Your feedback ensures we deliver the insights that keep you a step ahead in the rapidly changing world of cybersecurity. If you like our show, please share a rating and review in your favorite podcast app. Please also fill out the survey in the show notes or send an email to cyberwire@n2k.com. N2K's senior producer is Alice Carruth. Our Cyberwire producer is Liz Stokes. We're mixed by Trey Hester with original music and sound design by Elliot Peltzman. Our executive producer is Jennifer Iben. Peter Kilpie is our publisher, and I'm Dave Bittner. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Hey everybody, Dave here. Have you ever wondered where your personal information is lurking online? Like many of you, I was concerned about my data being sold by data brokers. So I decided to try Delete Me. I have to say, Delete Me is a game changer. Within days of signing up, they started removing my personal information from hundreds of data brokers. I finally have peace of mind knowing my data privacy is protected. Delete Me's team does all the work for you with detailed reports, so you know exactly what's been done. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount for our listeners. Today, get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/N2K and use promo code N2K at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/N2K and enter code N2K at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/N2K, code N2K.